Hello students, today we are going to discuss the French Revolution Part 2, Class 9, History, Chapter number 1. In the previous video, we discussed about what is a revolution, major characteristics of a revolution, driving forces of revolutions, location of France in the world map, introduction of the French Revolution, and major causes of the French Revolution, political causes and social causes. In this video, we will discuss other regions of the French Revolution like economic causes, unleashed wars, growing middle class, subsistence crisis, and age of enlightenment. Let's start discussion. Economic causes. The economic condition of France formed another cause for the outbreak of the French Revolution. The economic condition of France became poor due to foreign wars of Louis XIV, the Years' War of the Louis XV, and other expensive wars. During the reign period of Louis XVI, the royal treasury became empty as extravagant expenses of his Queen Mary Antoinette. To get rid of this condition, Louis XVI appointed Turgot as his finance minister in 1774. Turgot tried to minimize the expenditure of the royal court. He also advised the king to impose taxes on every classes of society. But due to the interference of Queen Mary Antoinette, Louis XVI dismissed Turgot. Then Necker was appointed as the finance minister in 1776. He published a report on the income and expenditure of the state in order to erode the people, but he was also dismissed by the king. The next person who was appointed by the king as the finance minister of France in 1783 was Colon. He adopted the policy of borrowing in order to meet the expenditure of the royal court. But due to this policy, the national debt of France increased from 30 crore to 60 crore francs only in 3 years. Then Colon proposed to impose taxes on all the classes, but he was dismissed by the king. In this situation, the king at least summoned the State General. The economic instability formed one of the most important causes of the French Revolution. Useless wars. In 1776, France helped 30 American colonies to gain their independence from Britain. This added more than $1 billion to a debt of $2 billion, which reached $3 billion now. Lenders who gave the state credit now began to charge 10% interest on loans. The French government spent 43% of its budget on interest payments alone. To meet its regular expenses, such as the cost of maintaining an army, the court, running government offices, and universities, the state was forced to increase taxes. First of all, ये 1776 फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन फ्रांस जो हेल्प कर रहा था अमेरिकन कॉलोनीज को, तो ये उस समय का जो कॉलोनिज्म का टाइम था जिसमें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यूरोपियन कंट्रीज अपनी कॉलोनीज को स्टेबल करना चाहती थी या वैसी कंट्रीज को हेल्प कर रही थी कि बाद में उनका उस कंट्री में डोमिनेंस हो जो किसी न किसी यूरोपियन कंट्रीज के अंडर में हुआ करती थी. देन नेक्स्ट, growing middle classes. The 18th century witnessed the emergence of middle class which was educated and believed that no group in society should be privileged by birth. These ideas were put towards by philosophers such as Luke, the English philosopher, and Rousseau, French philosopher. The American Constitution and its guarantee of individual right was an important example of political theories of France. These ideas were discussed intensive in saloon and coffee house and spread among people through book and newspaper. These were even read about. इनका बहुत बड़ा रोल है मिडिल क्लास का। ये एजुकेटेड थे, हमेशा डेवलपमेंट की बात करते थे और इन पे बहुत कुछ डिपेंड करता था। जो इलिटरेट पीपल थे जिनकी संख्या मेजोरिटी में थी, उनको ये लोग नए नए फिलोसफर्स या फिर नए आइडियाज़ डिफरेंट कंट्रीज़ में जो वार ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस हो रहा है, जो उनको राइट्स दिए जा रहे हैं, उनके बारे में ये हमेशा डिस्कस किया करते थे। देन सब्सिस्टेंस क्राइसिस। Subsistence crisis means an extreme situation where the basic means of livelihood are endangered. During the old regime, subsistence crisis frequently occurred in France. The reasons that led to subsistence crisis are, firstly, the population of France rose about 23 million in 1715 to 28 million in 1789, which led to a rapid increase in the demand for food grains. Secondly, production of grains could not keep pace with the increasing demand, so the price of foodstuff which made from grains rose rapidly. Most workers were employed as laborers on fixed wages. Their wages could not keep pace with the rise in price. Gap between the poor and the rich widened. Poor remained poor, but the rich became richer. The crisis of food grains became rose whenever drought or hail reduced the harvest. The age of enlightenment means the role of philosophers, the role of literacy. The age of enlightenment occurred during the 18th century. In the decades before the 1789 outbreak of the French Revolution. Although the Enlightenment took place many years before the outbreak of French Revolution, its ideas and achievements still had a profound effect on the French Revolution. In fact, many historians today look back on the Enlightenment as a major cause of the French Revolution. Another impact of the Enlightenment on the French Revolution can be seen in the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen. The document was adopted by the National Assembly on August 26. The French Revolution saw the feudal society of France overthrow the absolute monarch of Louis XVI in favor of a republic that was based on respect for individual rights of the people. The ideas of liberty and equality that were needed to overthrow Louis XVI emerged first from the writing of important and influential thinkers of the age of enlightenment, especially the writings of John Locke, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Baron greatly influenced the revolutionaries in France. Each of these three Enlightenment thinkers questioned the traditional authority of an absolute monarch and argued against the rigid class division of feudalism or the state system present in France. Their questioning of authority and the role of government inspired the revolutionaries and ordinary citizens of France. In fact, the ideas of many Enlightenment thinkers were commonly discussed and debated in the saloons of France, in which intellectuals and would gather to discuss the ideas of the day. In general, the French Revolution is often viewed today as a time when the ideas of the Enlightenment were put into action. Uh, let's let us finish this discussion. We will discuss further in the next video. You have some homework to complete. Thank you.